Okay, sorry. Ayun po.
At same time, the welcome and remarks of this activity para asa man para bakit tayo merong media conference on safety and security. Our speaker for today is isa sa batikang journalist na sa Pilipinas and also marami na rin siya na-publish. And our former PIA Director General, now the Executive Director of the PTCOMS. Let's all welcome Yusek Joe Torres.
Ayaw punta na punta na. Binisaya na lang ko kayo mga Tagalog ng Tagalog. Anyway, good morning to everyone at ayaw tayo magkabiyahe na pumunta rin sa Mindanao. Kapuli, manimamat o pag-usap ng mga labi na ang mga tiguang. Nasaan po sa tiguang kaya sa Tawilan. First of all, I would like to introduce myself kay Basing Tingala mo naman na siya sa PTCOMS. For almost 40 years, journalist ko. Kasubod ko sa alternative media ng Philippine News and Features in the late 80s. Nag-cover ko sa TV sa Mindanao, mga controversial na mga issues. Sa unang panahon na wala pa'y cellphone, o wala pa'y fax machine pa o sahig, kita pa na mo ang mga stories. And then, after that, I also worked sa Saudi Arabia in the mid-90s. Ayun, ibalik ko rin sa Pilipinas. Nagtrabaho ko sa Manila, sa Usakan newspaper, nag-issue news magazine. And after that, I joined the Manila Times, Philippine Post. Dahil nagkatugasugod na ang online, I set up yung ABS-CBN-News.com in 2000. In 2004, napupot ang kasugod sa GMA-News.tv. Part ng sa history sa journalism sa Pilipinas. Then after 2010, 2011, ang coverage na ako, kay kuha naman, hapit naman ko natigulan, paglangit na mga coverage na ako since 2010, si Pope Francis na as dili pa si Pope Francis, si Pope Benedict XVI and si Pope Francis, every time mo biyahe si ang Santo Papa dali sa Asia, ako may kuyog-kuyog niya, close me, seatmate. It was quite sad when he died 2 weeks ago. Lolo-lolo na po ito na ako. Kaya nag-cover ko niya since he became Pope until 2019 before the pandemic. And then, nanong naabot ko din isa, para mahibalukot mo kung nanong hibalukot about the media. Ako po sa una ang pinagkatugay na president sa National Union of Journalists of the Philippines. Madiling na bago sa ako mga issue about safety, security, at mga issues about the media. And after that, in 2023, I was invited by former PCO Secretary Cheloy Garapil to join the government. So I became the Director General of the Philippine Information Agency. Then last November, the President announced na kailangan ng bagong pinuno o Pangulo ang Presidential Task Force on Media Security. So we take over from that. Ang Presidential Task Force on Media Security was created in 2016. Ang goal or ang mandate po ng PTCOMS ay para proteksyonan ang seguridad sa media. Kung saan man na security and safety sa journalists. So first of all, ang security, kasi kung naamoy panandita na yung mga pagpusil, patay ng media, pwede mo diretso sa amoa para among proteksyon or may imbestigahan ng mga kaso. Kung na yung mga threats, mga panghadlok sa media, nalipot na yung report. Ang hindi na naman pwedeng buhaton, ang hatag mo kung ay pondo, kaya wag mo may budget para sa inyong health or sa financial or economic. At doon na lang nato ang DSWD or really ang Department of Labor when it comes to those issues. Pero when it comes to your security and safety, yan po ang mandate ng PPFOMS. In November 2014 last year, when I was appointed by the President, klaro tayo ang yung isulti nga kinahanglan, proteksyonan o bantayan ang local media. Mao nga sukat point 4 nakalingkod sa December hangtod karon atong himuon na as much as possible ang prioridad karon ang mga community media tumatabangan kung sa mga problema. In the past few months or past year, nakulang po ang achievements sa Presidential Task Force at sa atong gobyerno kasi last year, for the first time in 20 years, last year po, walay ipatay na media. Mayroon siguro mo na may usap dito sa Zamboanga. Pero it was declared or ingon sa Reporters Sans Frontiers or na Committee to Protect Journalists sa Amerika na hiling kay Rodriguez ba yun sa Zamboanga was not work related. Kaya ipatay siya sa iyang pagkumangko tungkol sa kaso ng utang. O ang gunman, o ang one ay nadakpan o now facing a case sa court sa Zamboanga. So it was not work related, so hindi sinama doon sa listahan ng CPJ. So for the first time in 20 years last year na walay ipatay na media sa Pilipinas after so many years. Then the other day, before the celebration of Press Freedom Day, nag-announce ko ang Reporters Sans Frontiers, Reporters Without Borders, na for the first time in 21 years, ang Pilipinas nitaas ang ranking sa Press Freedom Index. Last year, 134 tayo. This year, 116 na tayo. Out of 180 countries. So medyo hapit na mo 90 plus na lang. Taas pa. Ayaw unta. Magpadayon ang atong performance. Walay threats, walay atake sa media. Katulo, ang atong ranking percentage, may taas po by 6%, 6 points. So nasa 49 points na tayo. Tayo pa, nasa middle pa, wala pa tawa 100%. Pero this is a good indicator na maayo ang pagkita po, maayo ang media landscape sa Pilipinas. Tungod pa ka na sa gobyerno o tungod pa ka na sa PPFOMS, dili. Tungod kini sa local media, tungod ka kini sa media. Because you're doing your job well, walay mga pagkita po na medyo endanger your lives. Consistent on sa ni Presidente nga muadto or you take care of the local media mo nagasugod mi and we wanted the PPFOMS and Presidential Task Force na mas proactive. Kaya dugay-dugay naman mo 10 years na next year dili lang unta mi pihap o pila ang mamatay o pila ang giatake. Kami unta sa Presidential Task Force on Media Security ang akong dream, akong dampo para sa opisina o para sa media na mawala ng PPFOMS. Now, hopefully in the future, there will be no Presidential Task Force on Media Security because it will become irrelevant dahil safe na ang media sa Pilipinas. Safe media, ang media na secure sa bansa, sa country, does not need a special office or special agency to take care of itself, of the media. Okay, it's working already. And we will prove to the whole world na mayroong press freedom sa atong nasod. So, sana, kung hindi man maging ahensya o permanent na opisina, PPFOMS, mawala na siya o magiging relevant na siya dahil ang media sa Pilipinas safe and secure na. Pero habang samtang napatagal, magiging proactive tayo. So, instead of counting victims, or counting survivors, or counting cases, we would like to be more proactive. No? So, karon, o sana earlier, hindi na itong activity karon for the elections, pero tungkol sa mga logistical issues, wala man dahil ta makakuha o pagbiyahe na ito, pagliti mo, karon lang tayo abot diri. But we will continue with this. We will continue with safety and security training workshops. May pinag-usapan na kami kanina nila Troylan and the other groups. Hopefully, later this year or even after the elections, we can start ng mga workshops dealing lang sa safety and security. And we will even expand when it comes to safety. For instance, na coverage nato sa mga disasters. Saan nato pag-cover sa disaster na hindi po mga biktima. Hindi lang na coverage ng war or coverage ng conflict, kundi yung daily na safety sa mga journalists. So we will do that, and then we will involve you kung ano yung mga gusto ninyong activities. So this consultation actually, this conference, will just be an orientation, kaya may mga kasama tayo from the Commonwealth kung magsimita po next week, na ako'y from the PNP will be here. Then later on this afternoon, we will share with you, kauban nato din si Colonel Vicente, siya yung military assistant para sa PT Forms, para to share kung ano yung mga possible safety measures na pwede natin i-adapt. Then, pero yung pinaka-importante later this afternoon is for you to talk. Kamo mo'y musulti kung sa inyong paghinahanglan, dili kami ang magsulti kung sa gusto ng plano para sa inyo. Mas maayo ang pagmulis mo sa media, kung sa inyong mga concerns, kung sa inyong mga panghinahanglan, kamo magsulti sa mga. Kasi para mahimo na mga trabaho. For instance, there are cases, for example, here in Mindanao, even in sa Cagayan de Oro, we wanted to know ano yung mga issues behind it. For instance, meron tayong, kung hindi nyo pa pinapalo, meron tayong sa Facebook page, yung PT Forms na IRF, yung tinatawag natin incident report form. Naka-QR code yun, scan nyo lang sa inyong cellphone, tapos lalabas na yung form, i-fill up nyo yung mga kainhanlan doon, mga request nyo, kung sa man inyong mga needs. Hindi lang financial kaya watay kwata, pero for example, security, or anong inyong mga complaints, nandiyan yan yung QR code natin. Then we also have our hotline. Pwede nyo kaming i-text me. Mamaya, bibigyan namin yung hotline na limutan ko. Hindi ko pa memorize. Tapos, in the coming months, we will also revise, or we are now reviewing yung guidelines natin for safety and security with the Philippine National Police. And we are also doing yung handbook natin na hopefully ma-print natin later this year, and will be distributed to all of you para meron tayong guidelines and some other activities na later on we can discuss. Kunya na lang mo pangutana kay napamailan ang istorya. Pero actually this is not a media coverage, hindi press conference, pero later on you can interview us about the situation or kung sa mga issues ninyong gustong bala. Maraming salamat, maayong punta ka natin pala.
Again, salamat, Yusek Torres. So, nabata na natin no, ang PTCOMS is to help secure the media partners, to help them against any towards incidents. So, to go to the main topic, we will call on the representatives from Comelec Region 10 to give us an overview of the 2025 interim election. We have here today with us si Attorney Ramil Acol and si Attorney Joel Dexter Nagdalon to give us an update and overview kung saan ay dapat natin expect, especially this coming Monday. Your first, Attorney Nagdalon.
Thank you, sir. To Yusek Torres, our Executive Director of the Presidential Task Force, morning, sir. To the heads of the presidents in Cagayan de Oro, as well as distinguished members of the so-called fourth estate, the media. Good morning. In behalf of our Regional Election Director, Attorney Renato A. Macutay, he sent us over together with my partner, Attorney of the second district of Cagayan de Oro. We prepared a simple briefer on electoral data as well as current updates for our preparations for the May 12 national and local elections. So if you will allow me, we have prepared a PowerPoint presentation. We have prepared a topic outline on electoral data and updates, and we also take this opportunity to discuss the guidelines for our media and our observation missions from international bodies. So, this is the data of our Region 10, covering 5 provinces. So we have a total of 3,179,252 registered voters for the entire region. And it's divided into Bukidnon, 995, 736. Camiguin, Gamay Kayo, Apit sa Carmen, 66,557. Lanao del Norte, 573, 261. Misamis Occidental, 437, 401. And Misamis Oriental, we have already reached the 1 million voter mark, 1,106,297. If you can see, we have also the data for male and female. The mayroong difference siya, no? Around 50-50. Hundreds may difference. Magaw lang babae of around 400 plus. So that is our data for Region 10. For the province of Bukidnon, this is the breakdown. 995,736. You have there the figure for male and female. They have 6,057 established precincts. We have clustered that into 1,349 clustered precincts. So there will be 1,349 automated counting machines that will be deployed in Bukidnon, distributed among 549 voting centers. So I'd like to inform everybody that the voting center may include several polling places. But some voting centers have what we call a mono-precinct ng Gagmay. So usa lang ang presinto, itong mga, usually mga hinterland po ng mga barangays. Next please. For Camiguin, we also have the following data. 424 established precincts, 94 clustered precincts, and 55 voting centers. For Lanao del Norte, 573,261, they have 3,993 established precincts and 856 clustered precincts, divided to 373 voting centers. Next, please. For the province of Misamis Oriental, Occidental, 437,401 registered voters. They have 2,639 established precincts and 693 clustered precincts, divided among 465 voting centers. And for Misamis Oriental, 1,106,297. We have 6,878 established precincts and 1,452 clustered precincts divided among 469 voting centers. In our organizational setup, although Cagayan de Oro is a highly organized city, we belong to Misamis Oriental. That's why we include more than 400,000, 420,000 plus, 14,000 of Cagayan de Oro. That's why we reached the 1 million registered voters for Misamis Oriental. Next. So for Cagayan de Oro, this is for the Cagayan de Oro for our first district. This is our data. In my districts, this is for the second district. 203,016 registered voters, 1,234 established precincts, and 249 clustered precincts. So, Terniaco will handle 249 automated counting machines. In barangays Nimo is, I think, we have to edit that. It's more than 33. That's for the first district. 56. Second district first, 56 barangays and 33 voting centers. For the first district, next please. This is our data. This is for the first district. Ito po, 211,679 is our registered voters. Very likely ang first district because of the fight for the House of Representatives. So we have 1,329 established precincts, 233 clustered precincts, 24 barangays, including our hinterland barangays, and the same in the second district, we have 33 voting centers. So that's our data for the first district. Okay, for our number of poll workers that we will deploy, a total of first district. Okay, 1,568, including our electoral board. There are 699. 133 times 3. We have support staff, 681. We have Department of Education supervisory officials, 43. 43 also administrative support staff. And we have our technical support staff for the first district, 62. Priority polling places support staff, we have 14. These are the priority polling places are areas inside the polling centers where our vulnerable sectors can vote, but they do not have any automated counting machine. There will be an aide who will get their official ballots from the precinct, bring it to the PPP, and then the vulnerable sector voters will shade, and then the aide will bring back the ballots, the picked ballots, place in an envelope back to the polling place where it will be batch fed by our electoral board before the close of the voting hours. We have PPP aids. We also have SEBTDL. There will be a special electoral board at Lumbia City Jail. For the first district, we have 3 special electoral boards, but also they do not have any machines. It will have to be shaded and brought to the mother precinct for feeding in the ACM by our regular electoral board, and we have 6 PDL support staff. So for the second district, this is the data on the number of workers. 747 electoral board, 660 support staff. They have 42 supervisors, 42 also support staff, admin, 62 technical support staff. By the way, the technical support staff will be the one who will troubleshoot our ECM. The administrative support staff is the runner of our DESO in the polling center. Priority polling places, 40, and AIDS, 41. So they have a total of 1,634 poll workers which will be deployed in the 2nd district of Cagayan de Oro. Next. These are the voting centers with priority polling places. Bonbon, Cagayan de Oro College, Carmen for Barangay Bata, Kauswagan, and Bumbungon also in Kauswagan. The rest, that's for the 1st district, the rest are located in the 2nd district. So, muna ato mga voting centers with DTP. Okay. For the 1st district, we have 3 clusters because as of February, we have 234 persons deprived of liberty who registered as voters, male and female. And our PDL voters are now allowed to vote for their local candidates, unlike before, national lang. Because there was a ruling in the Supreme Court adopted by COMELEC, PDL voters can now vote for local candidates. Sa 2nd district, they have 1 cluster. So, 1 is EB also, and they have 57 PDL voters. So, for example, a PDL is registered in Bugo. The support staff will have to get the ballots from Bugo, bring it to the local city jail, and bring it back to Bugo for PDL. Ihana nga itong proseso for PDL voting. Kaya wala po yung machine within the PDL voting center. Next. Okay. We have scheduled tomorrow for our final testing and sealing for Cagayan de Oro. For the rest of Misamis Oriental, I think some have already conducted because per resolution, the final testing and sealing should be conducted between May 2 to May 7. So for Cagayan de Oro, we chose May 7 para hindi na kayo taas ng pagbantay sa atong makina. Kaya on final testing and sealing, the machines will already be brought to the polling places. Dito na sila testingan. After the FTS, they will remain there until election day under lock and key. And together with the deployment of our ECM, i-deploy na po ng ato mga PNP and other law enforcement and army personnel. All voting centers are dungan. So starting from 9 o'clock onwards, because they will have to get their supplies from our respective offices early in the morning, travel na to tayo dito. So dito na to sa polling places. Everybody, the media is welcome to witness the proceedings. We have already sent notices also to our candidates and political parties so that the watchers can already be present, and there will be test balloting, 10 FPS ballots. So the public can actually shade and fill the ballots to the respective ECMs. After the conduct of the FTS, we will have to re-zero the machine para pag election day, pag gawas sa initialization report, 0 ang magawas. And on FPS, there will be no transmission. We have already gave instruction to our electoral boards that the servers will not be open on FTS day tomorrow. They will only be open at 7 o'clock on election day. So, that's the answer to the issue of whether the machine can be hacked. So, between FTS and election day, the machines are shut down. So, there is no way that it can be hacked because it's closed, shut down. It will have to be open on election day na after Sunday. Okay? Next, please. For the first district, we have early delivery. The delivery normally begins at 12 o'clock on May 12. But for these 12 barangays, we will deliver the official ballots together with the EBCPL and PCPL on May 11 at 1 o'clock in the afternoon at Barangay Bumbia, and then it will be deployed to these interred barangays of Cagayan de Oro. Yapil na mo ang lumbia, although di na mga hintaran ang lumbia, pero traditionally, ito magod ang deployment ikan sa itong interland barangays. So on May 12, we have a new feature. There will be in early voting hours for our vulnerable sector, comprising of senior citizens, PWD, and pregnant women. And if the voters belong to this vulnerable sector, they can bring one assistor with them who will be allowed to vote if they are also registered voters in the precinct where the vulnerable sector voter is registered. So kung boros, hindi niya dalon niyang bana. Pagkutaron sila dungan. Para dili maulahin kasi magkukubo. Bawal ang ino pero makukub ng ihapon. Pagkuman. O ang mga PWD na sila assistor, no? Member of their own household. If not, then by a person of their confidence belonging to the same household, and kung wala yun, atong electoral board. After that, there will be regular voting hours between 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. But just in case our vulnerable sector voters cannot vote on the 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. schedule, they can still vote on the 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. schedule. We observe priority also. There will be an express lane, around 5 chairs for express lane voters, and the rest for regular voters. Our POP, our project precinct, has a maximum of 1,000 voters per cluster precinct. Itong barangay election, 800 lang, kaya manual lang, bugay. Pero automated election lang ta, so 1,000 na itong maximum project of precincts per cluster precinct. Next. Okay, we now go to our briefer on mass media accreditation. So, kindly bear with me so that it's also an opportune time for us to discuss this one. So, who may be accredited? Mass media entities, it might be local, international, and other media, including our observation missions for the conduct of the national and local elections for this year. Next. Next. Oh, kapay na ba tanan? March 51 ang deadline. Okay. For national, foreign, and other media of domestic, including our observers, submitted to COMELEC EID via online. And for our local media, it should have been submitted with our provincial election supervisor, Attorney Sargento Ibarrelo for Misamis Oriental, and to the other provinces ay mga respective election supervisor on March 31. I don't know if there was an extension. Just try. If you have not tried, just try. Next. Okay, what are the conditions for accreditation of media entities? Number one, we have to observe the reasonable conduct practiced by professional journalists worldwide. And secondly, very important, there should be no conflict of interest, political, economic, and other conflict of interest that would interfere with fair and accurate reporting of news and stories, and with the conduct of an impartial election observation mission. We have one, I have met with the European Union Electoral Observation Mission in Cagayan de Oro. They are already here. So natay from the European Union, and this morning, I was informed that another observation mission coming from Myanmar will also be coming over in Cagayan de Oro. I think we'll have a meeting this afternoon. So,
Will they be allowed to enter a polling center?
They are allowed to enter the polling center, but they are not allowed to influence or to give any opinion. Observe regularly sila. And I have talked with the European Mission. They said that they will follow the protocol on observation. Next. Okay, media personnel must wear their COMELEC issued IDs at all times. And these IDs are not transferable. Personal. And must be presented to the EB, DESO, BOC, or designated officials upon arrival at the election venue. So kindly identify yourself that you are an accredited media personnel and wear your ID. And coverage must be conducted in a way that does not disrupt the proceedings or interfere with the voters, all workers, all security personnel, or undermine ballot secrecy. And therefore, taking pictures of voters actually casting their shading or casting their votes are not allowed. Next, please. Okay. In the polling center that is under the control of COMELEC, so all the poll workers are deputized by COMELEC, and therefore the authority of the COMELEC, the Electoral Board, the DESO, and the Board of Canvassers, with respect to the number of accredited media personnel which may be allowed inside the polling place, voting center, canvassing venue at any given time is regulated. Okay. Of course, needless to say, we must observe proper protocol. No loitering is allowed inside the polling place, voting center, or canvassing center. Of course, we all know that we are professionals. So, next please. What constitutes unprofessional conduct? 1. Refusal to submit to the authority of COMELEC, the ED, the DESO board, the BOC, disrupting the voting, counting, and canvassing proceedings, engagement in partisan political activity or endorsement of any candidate while inside the election venue. The voting center, ladies and gentlemen, is not only the school, but a radius of 50 meters. Sa ato mga electoral board, pwede sila magtawag within 30 meters atong law enforcement. Okay? Engaging in any conduct that unduly influence the choice of voters, but not limited to directly sway the vote to speak for or against a candidate. Next, please. Okay? Conducting interviews inside the polling place. So kindly note, no interviews inside the polling place and within the voting centers. Interviews may only be conducted outside of the voting centers. The taking of photographs or videos of actual ballots being filled out by the voters is also not allowed.
No. Mr. Chair.
Sir?
So, grabe kayo.
Oh.
Indiyahaan na ba?
Pwede, sir. In fact, that's an election offense. If you
Oh,
take picture of
Kami kating picture kayo. Grabe mag-coaching dito.
Anyway,
Sila ka PRC exam?
obstructing the movement of voters, poll workers, or security personnel. Ma-fall po na siya, sir, sa violating the confidentiality of voters' choices if open ballot. No? Actually, it's an election offense if there is an open ballot. The GI says that the ballot, the filled-up ballot, should be placed inside the secrecy folder while being fed into the ECM. Okay, and invading the privacy of individuals who have not given their explicit consent to be interviewed. Do not kill the messenger. I just bring the news. So this is what is in the resolution. Okay. asking members of the EB that may lead to the following matters during the voting period, whether a registered voter has already voted or not, the number of registered voters who already voted or failed to vote so far, and any other fact tending to show or showing the state of the polls. For our electoral board, divulging this data constitutes an election offense. So please do not ask them so that they will not be vulnerable to criminal charges. Bawal na sa iyo. The engagement in any activity deemed unlawful is including violation of gender-related laws and issuances. So atong GAD regulations are already in effect, especially towards gender, our physical abilities, bawal na lang siya, bawal na shaping. Next. Okay. What are the consequences of violations? The improper use of COMELEC issued ID, meaning constituting unprofessional conduct such as lending it to an unaccredited individual is considered an abuse of discretion, and any violation may result in the immediate removal from the premises, the revocation of COMELEC accreditation, and confiscation of the media ID. When this happens, the electoral board are under instruction to note it in the minutes of voting and counting or during the canvassing proceedings, and of course the reason should be stated. Next. I think that concludes my refer. So thank you very much for your time. Bernie Apple is here. He may be able to answer your questions later. So thank you and good morning once again.
Thank you so much, Attorney Joel, for that exciting overview for the upcoming midterm election. Now, let's get the ball rolling. To give us an overview of the local media situation in Cagayan de Oro, we would like to welcome the Cagayan de Oro Press Club President, Sir Froilan Gallardo. Sir?
Good morning. Ako namin nagstorya diya namin mga komunikay dito, ipaprint na mo sa Alabang Gusto. Yeah. Gusto mo, print ang buta. Anyway, I'm glad that after how many years, nakita namin ni Joe Torres, usa sa pinakaninig ng mga nag-cover sa ako sayang sa una. In fact, he had 2 books with his name. Joe, required reading for all those who covered Basilan and Bolo before. You have to read the book of Joe. Yan ang one niya. Then Joe was the first chairman ng National Union General. And you alam sa first chairman. Pag-divide, Joe was the first chairman of NUJP. I was with them, with him, we made baby steps to protect the media industry. Small baby steps, hantod karon na nagkakay sila, nagkakay nga mga media safety organization. Paano sila yung mga problema na nila. Basta we started it all. So, now, given the what's happening in the situation. But first, when we talked with Joe, number one, you know, naitabo din si Montes sa COWD. Away siya. No, COWD is to name that siya ay government-owned corporation has no right to mukaway na. They have no right para sa ako, it's a clear violation sa atong yung rights as reporters. Kasalig man siguro ni sila. Kaya wala'y gaaway sa ilan. I thank Menzi Mundez for standing up to the COW. Next is ang problema doon ani, ang sakit, kay ang wave of terror ng COW against us are made kay ato isang mga kauban. Katong namali na sa nahimo ng zombie o naka-umpire. Ito po na sa City Hall. So, ayun, sakit pa. Ako rin kauban mo yung zombie na sa akin. Third, kung saan may pinakasakit na ito, may gota, is kaming mga political din meron mag pare sila kay Isong sila na usulong sa farm, sa Pasilan ba? Really may inubig kusik. Pero sakit ang kusik pa. So we have to make a stand. Hindi. Primero, may kapalagi ang milit istorya kung sa'yo natawag kang Johnny Midnight.
Daya.
Walker.
Daya.
Kapag ipatay, Russell ipatay sa sulod sa iyang radio station. Is Joseph personal nila ako. It's not academic, not bahin sa profesyon. Away yun ka. Next, sa ako, dini sa ako, katong Ireo, ito itong nagpatay si sa Pakanan. Isa ko. Hasta karon wala yun. Wala. Why? Ang problema ni Dini Pisao ni Dini Kuan, dito sa ang iyong record was working with politicians. Yun ang problema. Mamatay ka, work ka politician, picture mark ka, yun na mo. Second is katong warning ako ninyo. Eleksyon na. Those who will vote, kami din, pagtagin mo. Kung hindi ko sa pasagpaon dito, record yun na, may record sila dito na. You know whose side and whose side. Area knows that already. Ayaw bit mo kumpiyansa sa sarili. That's what I warning. Sa una, nailuwag ka po, kamigas ka kaya siguro. Ako rin Palambing Hospital, tumatako. That was the first job sa next is kailangan former director sa COTC, Fred Soriano, and correct Osyo, Nicolata, Villanueva, Masamis Oriental. Yung problema sa among sa una sa kuan, even with the COTC board na aming mga political leanings niya, mga directors. Sa pagkulata nila, wala yung isang condemnation from the COTC board. So po kayo ato. I threatened to resign with ato. Ano naman dili mo yung sa dili kayo nangampanya mo ito silang director? No. The point was they were wearing ID. Press ID. Dapat enough yung to stop. Kaya just wear your ID, and for me, that's already you are not a journalist now. So, ganun. There were many of us will be going out this election. Ako, I'll go to Lanao, Quezon, ako naman to rock and roll with almost sila to sumanuban. I told her, uban ka pwede, pero bring your own around political place. And also, karong eleksyon, hindi mo magdala kung World Congress ay nalamog at ito. So yun, siguro maraming joke ang grabe. Kaya bilang tuwang na ito karoon. And lastly, ang election sa Mindanao doesn't end in April. Napatay bar election on October 15. So kaya pinapreparahan na mo na dapat napunta namin safety training last January sa CUPC. Pero may dynamics kami sa CUPC. Kaya away mo sa grupo na distract. But right now, we have between July and August, natin media safety training. 3 days, big in, support infantry division. Nanay mo sponsor, nanay mo finance for the magkaon ninyo. This time, bili lang ka mo. May kapoy na ka mo usay, katagang ganit offer nyo sa CUPC na mo attend sa seminars. Dili mo ga-attend. Bright kayo mo. Bright kayo mo. Dili mo ga-attend. This time, those who will attend, maraming isabutan ninyo, somebody, para Diyos, and we are asking SMART to finance their, Cebu Pacific to finance their trip. There will be 6 photographers from Manila, Davao, Barn, joint na ni para di ko pinapayas na kamurahan nila. But the training will go 3 days. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sir Floyd. So we're now in our open forum for today's katong mga first speakers na to. We would like to ask Sir Sen magpa-basis ako.